Chair, I'm happy for Ms. Silla to start, and then I'll do whatever follow-ups I need to do on the basis of her starting.
Aisha. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Dr. Mashazi, when we broke for lunch, we were discussing the issue of the Empd report and how the city, and I'll speak as a city, dealt with that report. You recall the advices you say you received from Advocate Kemi Bihari, who was the head of legal, or who is, I apologize, is the head of legal at the city of Ekurhuleni. You, in response to a question by Commissioner Baloyi, in particular as to why you did not act, you specified that you could not, only the chief of police could act against Mr. Mkwanazi, and you would only be able to act against him if he were acting at the acting chief of police. Do you recall that? And you indicated that either before, I think before the interview, oh, I apologize, the witnesses' files have disappeared. The witness doesn't seem to have files.
They took my files, I don't know.
I know, I do apologize. Joy, what's the story there? Thank you. There were basic assumptions made that the witnesses' files will still be here, but for some reason or other they were removed, all of them, and I note even the extra files.
Should we wait outside?
2 minutes.
We'll
2 minutes while we
you.
track them
Thank
down.
you.
Apologies, Chair.
No, when he's done, Sorry. No, just to see if Dr. Mashazi has the files in any particular order there. Do you want to sort them out, or are you fine as they are, Doctor?
I must indicate that this is one of the disadvantages.
We'll just take an adjournment and you'll indicate to us. We'll
But
adjourn,
I'm
Doctor.
fine.
Sorry, Doctor.
I will arrange. I'm fine.
You're fine. You had begun to, I thought, complain. Maybe let me hear you out, Doctor.
That my file, and we are now starting with the commission and questions, and I don't have any file in front of me. I must point out that I get a bit disorganized in terms of my thinking.
No, apologies for that, Doctor.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Apology accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And I must apologize, Dr. Mashazi, because just before we started, I was interacting with you, and I did not see that your files were not before you. And I guess being your evidence leader, I somehow left you in a ledge there. We don't have to rush. The key files you should have before you are your statement and your annexures. You confirm you have those.
Yes, I do.
If you need a moment to get your bearings, the commissioners are happy to accommodate. That was a tad destabilizing, and I do apologize for that.
I'm okay.
You okay? Okay, thank you. Let's turn then to your statement file, and in particular, page 21. You remember at page 21, from paragraph 120 to 123, you are dealing with this very failure to implement the directives of Empd. I want in particular to refer you to paragraph 123, and if you could read that into the record, please.
Paragraph 123.
123.
Yeah, Advocate Bihari advised me that the report was insufficient and that the matter should not be pursued further.
Now, in the context of the conversation you had earlier with Commissioner Baloyi, and to some extent as well with the chair, you indicated that you had received this advice from Advocate Bihari. And you subsequently satisfied yourself that the advice or the opinion was not entirely correct. And I think you said it's when you received the evidence. You suggested that this was before the interview, did I hear you correctly?
No, ma'am.
When was it? Relative to the interview?
It was post to the interview.
Post the interview that we played?
That was played, and it is obviously recently when we received evidence that these things really happened.
So the receipt of evidence you're suggesting is with the Commission's intervention? Is that what you're saying?
Can you repeat the question?
You say you received evidence that then led you to question the correctness of the opinion expressed by Advocate Bihari, as you have read at paragraph 123.
Yes.
Now, I'm testing to see, you say you formed the opinion that his opinion, you formed the view that his opinion could not have been entirely correct when you received the actual evidence. When and from who did you receive that evidence?
The correctness of the report and the evidence, we received it from the evidence bundle that was presented to us.
So, up until your date of retirement of the 31st of July, you were not aware that the opinion was flawed?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The interview was held on the 3rd of February 2025. You confirm?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And at the time, Brigadier Mkwanazi was acting chief of police.
Exactly.
And had you formed the view that the opinion you received from Advocate Bihari at the time was incorrect, and this is before you retired, you then would have had the power to act against Brigadier Mkwanazi in his capacity as the acting chief of police.
Correct.
But unfortunately, you were none the wiser until you retired.
Remember the evidence, we're receiving the evidence now from the bundle that we were actually given through the commission, from the statements and the evidence that were presented, that there is indeed some truth in the report, and there is also evidence supporting the report. Hence, I'm saying, if at that point we had evidence, I would have acted differently.
Indeed, and that's what I'm confirming. So basically
Yes.
what you are saying is, if you knew then what we've since come to learn
Yes.
through the commission, you would have acted. That's your
Correct.
testimony. You referenced receiving an opinion from Advocate Bihari. If I could just start here, was that a written or a verbal opinion?
It's a verbal opinion.
Just a verbal opinion. And am I correct to say that the totality of that opinion is encapsulated in your paragraph 123 that you just read? Effectively, that the report was insufficient, and that the matter should not be pursued further. Is that the advice you received?
Correct.
Did you have an engagement with Advocate Bihari following that opinion to satisfy yourself that indeed the report was insufficient and that not pursuing the matter further is the correct course to take? Did you have that deeper discussion with him?
We had discussions as and when with Advocate Behari, hence I indicated that he should actually expatiate in terms of his understanding about the opinion. Because I based my decision on the opinion that was given. And as I indicated also that in terms of the processes, when you receive reports of this nature, a lawyer or the legal department must actually interpret and give advice to the accounting officer as to what needs to happen.
Yes. So your decision was based largely, if not solely, in fact, on the legal advice you received from your legal advisor,
Correct.
Advocate Bihari. Commissioner Balo, you had indicated, I think there are questions and
Yes.
perhaps might be the appropriate junction.
Yes. The report, as you correctly say, Dr. Mashazi, the report is directed at the Chief of Police. It's not directed at you. And then you say in paragraph 122 of your statement, you say, notwithstanding this, I received the presentation of the report. So it was presented to you by Empd. Okay. How does that square up with earlier evidence that Empd presented it to MAPIA as well?
They have written the report to Mapeye. It is
Yes.
part of the evidence. They presented the report. They wrote the report to him
Yes.
that he must take action against Julius.
Yes,
It's documented, signed by Ulu,
yes.
that he must take action. He must actually discipline Mapeye. And for me, it was fair enough because the discipline of his junior officials lies squarely on him as the accounting officer of the department.
So when you say Empd presented the report to MAPIA, you meant it is addressed to him in writing? Because on the
Addressed to
face
him.
of it, indeed, you're correct, it's addressed to him.
Yes.
But it was presented to you,
Also, yes.
and you received it. Now, the report, and if Ms. Silo could remind me what page the report is in the bundle.
The Empd report,
Yes.
that is MAPIA JM 19, Commissioner. The files.
Yes. So the report discusses the complaint, the allegation in paragraph 1. It's quite a short report of 3 pages. And then it concludes in 103, page 103 of the bundle. It gives you the recommendation, and then it recommends disciplinary action, disciplinary steps be taken in terms of the disciplinary procedure collective agreement. And it says for honesty and for failure to conduct himself with honesty and integrity. Now, on the face of it, it looks to me an employee relations matter. That's what it looks like. Why would you refer this recommendation to Advocate Behari and not your head of HR, Ms. Kasheka?
For me, at face value, I looked at the report and it contained like memorandum of agreement. And for me, I took it that it needs a legal opinion to advise.
I thought you received the memorandum of agreement
This-
later, the evidence. You didn't
No,
receive it with the report.
It was part of the report.
So when you received the report in September 2023, before you gave it to to Advocate Bihari, it already had the memoranda, the two memoranda.
No, this one is a memorandum of agreement concluded between Empd and South African Police Service as well as Empd. I'm referring to this memorandum. And it was part of the report that was sent to Chief of Police to take action against Mkwanazi.
So you say the reason you gave it to Advocate Bihari, it is because it contained a memorandum between the Empd and the Empd.
Correct.
And you were asking him to do what? Because you've got a report which recommends disciplinary action. That's the action that is required from the city and you have from the municipality, and you have a head of HR. What are you saying Advocate Bihari should do with that recommendation? Because he's not Mr. Mkwanazi's superior.
I did not look at the recommendation only. The report itself, the content of the report, it must be interpreted legally and I must be advised legally. Obviously, the HOD HR will come and testify about labor relation issues that are related to the report.
Okay. Now, I'm not concerned about the HOD. We will speak to her when she does, because she will come and testify. So we will speak to her. I want to understand why it is you receive, there's a complaint, and you are told in page 1, in one short paragraph, what the allegations are. And in page 2, there's an analysis of what that investigation has revealed. And then you, in fact, the only reference to a memorandum is at page, it says, in the second page, it says, it has been ascertained that the suspect was acting and further discovered that the chief of police and deputies do not have powers to enter into a memorandum. The Empd memorandum with EMPD, may be missing it. I don't see any reference to it, so I don't understand when you say the reason you took this to Advocate Bihari is because there was a memorandum between the EMPD, which had accompanied this report, between the EMPD and Empd. I don't see a reference to it in the report.
In terms of my evidence, when I started responding to this question, I indicated that anything that has memoranda or any document that would come from external service provider or external institution, we always take them to legal
See.
to assist me in understanding the documents. Remember, I'm running 26 departments and I'm not like legally trained or HR or engineering and so forth.
Yes.
For me to take a safe route, I need an advocate or the legal department to interpret some of these things before I take action.
Okay. Let me ask you, let me try lastly. You've told us you've now had the opportunity to read this report from beginning to end. And you say you now realize that whatever advice Mr. Bihari gave you was not helpful to you. Do you accept, now that you've had the chance to reread it, do you accept that given the recommendation in this report, the proper directing of this report would have been to employee relations or to HR to deal with what it recommends?
I agree.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think it's only appropriate to conclude with these matters regarding the memoranda, the blue lights and Empd. And I know they appear under different questions in your statement, so I will jump then about. Please pull out the annexures, the annexure file for Niza. You can close the MAPA file for now.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Are you winning?
Yes,
I'm going to
I'm
ask somebody
winning.
to help you. You okay?
I'm winning.
Okay. Okay, if you've looked.
Annexures, ne?
Yes, annexures file, thank you. I want you to draw your attention particularly to annexure PN 1919.
Annexure?
PN 19, that would start at page 344. Now, this, to place things in their proper context, this is a letter addressed to Mr. T.A. Kiefelakai, the Director, Investigations and Information Management, as well as Acting National Head Investigations, Empd, and copied to Mr. W.M. Ulu, Senior Investigator, Empd. Mr. Kulu is the investigator in the Empd report that we have just been working through. It's dated the 6th of December 2023, and if you go to the last page of that at 348, you will see that it is signed by Advocate Njabulo Zulu, legal advisor, and Thabo Makwiting, acting HOD Corporate Legal Services, both with the city of Ikuruleni. You confirm you know them and they hold those positions. They held at the time those positions.
Correct.
Have you ever seen this letter and have you ever had opportunity to consider its contents?
This letter, as I was made to understand,
Yes.
was an internal letter from the department, and according to Advocate Kemi, said this letter was leaked illegally. It was never sent to Empd. That is my understanding according to the letter, but I haven't seen the letter.
You've never seen this letter?
I've seen the letter now in terms of the bundle that we received.
Would you be able to express a view on some of its contents in your capacity as accounting manager, strictly? Accounting, what, authority? Would you be in a position to engage effectively with this document?
Yeah, it's really not helping the process of dealing with the matter at hand.
We'll try and take it slow, and to the extent that you have to read specific paragraphs that I reference you, I'll give you the opportunity to do so. I'm starting at page 345. And this letter, at paragraph 5, records the following. The registration of vehicles was not done by the suspect in this case being Mr. Mkwanazi, but by the authorized personal fleet. The letter, and I jump 4 lines below, this letter has been authenticated by the author, security company, and is therefore not fraudulent. I understand the authors of this document to suggest that the registration of vehicles by Empd was in fact effected. Is that the same understanding you have? And that registration was duly authorized.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying perusing the letter, looking at the letter, to be honest, is not assisting the process to deal with the actual misconduct.
In what way is it not?
Because if they're saying the registration of the vehicle, there are no challenges or legal challenges in terms of the registration of vehicle. For me, without those vehicles being presented as donation to the accounting officer, because the accounting officer is the only person who can authorize donations.
Okay.
So if you look at our donation policy, I was supposed to have had sight of this.
I understand you, and just to test my understanding therefore, then you are saying to the extent that there was such a registration, you can't support it
I can't.
because it would be based on a donation that you as the city manager did not authorize. So,
Correct.
however they express themselves and they think that it was authorized, you disagree with the position assumed in this letter in that regard.
I disagree.
Thank you. I want us then to go to page 346 of the same document. In fact, I'll start at 345 at the penultimate sentence of 345. It records, and I read, Stein furthermore states that this is the norm, as my understanding, as SIT program, Caesar's program, and Gauteng heavy vehicle donations were donated only on a letter. Do you see where I'm reading?
No.
From the bottom of 345, the
Okay.
penultimate sentence,
Yes.
that says Stein further states, and this is a reference to, is it I.O. Stein, who submitted a statement regarding the registration of these vehicles. And it quotes him as having said, this is the norm as my understanding as SIT program, SEAT, S-E-A-T program, Caesar's program, and Gauteng heavy vehicle donations were donated only on a letter. Do you follow where I'm reading? Do you follow?
Yes, I follow.
Okay. Now, I want to test the correctness of this understanding. What is SIT program, Caesar's program, and Gauteng heavy vehicle donations? You approve donations for the city. What donations are being referenced here?
I don't know. I don't have an idea because it never came to my attention, to be honest.
Did you ever authorize any donations as described in the document here?
No.
To your recollection?
No, in terms of my recollection during my tenure, even the first term of office, I never approved such donations.
You never approved such donations. So to the extent that Stein were to argue, as it's suggested perhaps he is, that there were similar previous donations as he describes them, you would disagree that those donations, if they were found to have in fact taken place, would be lawful?
Correct.
You said correct.
I'm saying if those donations happened before, like Christine is saying, it's been their practice of accepting donations at that level as a department. For me, it is incorrect because the policy is very clear.
Okay, I note your answer. On the page 346 still, after the quotation we just read, which is in bold, there is a question posed to Empd. Did you then consider that all other donations in the Empd were also non-compliant with the process that you described, and surely Chief of Police and other senior management, including Deputy Chief Spees, who had lodged this complaint, cannot be ignorant of such donations? Furthermore, according to Stein, the Empd was under-resourced at the time. Did Chief of Police Mapieye and Deputy Chief Spees address this to effectively and efficiently protect the residents of Ikuruleni? You see what I've just read? As a city manager, I'm inviting your comment on how your members express queries to Empd. Do you consider what I have just read into the record appropriate? as authored by both Mr. Zulu and Mr. Makwiting, addressed to Empd?
It is inappropriate.
If this had come to your attention at the time before you retired, what steps would you have taken?
I would have subjected this to a disciplinary action, but through the relevant responsible authority.
And in this instance, that would be Advocate Kemi Behari.
Yes.
I see, because they
Correct,
are
yeah.
legal persons. It's within his department.
Correct.
At 347, top of the page, it's, the first line is then ending to a statement starting on the previous page. I'm interested in the next sentence, and I quote, "The city is the one that stood to benefit from the registration of vehicles, particularly considering that the EMPD had a shortage of vehicles and there seemed to be no effort from the Chief of Police and senior management to address this." So the authors contend that that donation of vehicles and their registration in the manner that eventually was investigated by Empd was appropriate because EMPD had a shortage of vehicles at the time, and there was no effort on the part of Chief of Police and senior management to address this shortage. I bring this to your attention to invite your comment.
My comment is it is incorrect. Even though they were to receive donations, they were supposed to follow the process.
Yes. And lastly then, on the same page, and I'm on item 10 at page 347, towards the bottom of that page, starting at 5th line from the end of that paragraph.
Yes.
It reads, and it's a question posed to Empd. Why did you not conduct a thorough and detailed investigation into the donations process and verify the evidence of stain that this was a norm in the EMPD department? Why were the senior management not requested for explanations on the delay in reporting a crime, if indeed the actions of Mkwanazi did amount to the same? End of quote. You see where I read. Now, I'll start with the latter part of that. Did the actions, knowing what you know now, I'll preface that, did the actions of Mr. Mkwanazi, because I'm looking at you, did the actions of Mr. Mkwanazi constitute a crime? And I say it simply because it is referred to as a crime here. In your view today as you sit here?
Correct.
You consider that that constituted a crime. To your knowledge, is it correct that receiving these kind of donations and registrations of vehicles from private sector and fitting them with blue lights, that this was the norm within the city of Ekurhuleni? Do you agree with that view?
That it was a norm. I'm not aware that they're receiving donations and even the registration of those cars and the blue lights. As I indicated, that the department is in Kempton Park and I do not get involved in the operations of.
But considering that now this trumps your authority, because only you can authorize donations.
Yes.
Now that entry there suggests that it is quite the norm.
No,
Does that concern you? Because it would suggest that there are more vehicles that are treated in this manner by the EMPD.
It's concerning for me, and I think action should be taken by the relevant authority for them to make a statement that is a norm, which I am not aware of, which is incorrect and irregular. So the
Yes.
HOD responsible must definitely take action for such utterances and the decision that they're challenging an investigation that was done.
You indicated that this letter was brought to your attention by Advocate Behari, who indicated that it was never sent. That's what you stated when we
This
started.
letter, I'm saying, we saw it in the evidence bundle.
Yes.
Yes.
And you said Advocate Behari confirmed to you that it was never sent.
Yes.
In that conversation with him, did you discuss its contents and specifically what I have just drawn your attention to?
I did not. We are preparing for the commission. I asked him that I saw this kind of letter here, and it was never brought to my attention. Then he said, no, it was an internal letter between themselves, and they never submitted the report to IPED. That is what he said.
So you didn't get insight into Advocate Bihari's thinking as to the appropriateness of the content of this document?
No, ma'am.
That is an issue you suggest perhaps we take up with him?
Yes.
Okay. We shall do so. Jumping about, as I have suggested that we do in your statement, I then want to deal with the question of the upliftment of Brigadier Mkwanazi's suspension, and I specify, as the question did say, by Human Resources Ms. Linda Kasheka on 24th May 2023, and the directive to the Chief of Police that he be redeployed to his substantive post as Director Specialized Services. Do you see where I am?
Yes, I see.
Your response to that question is reflected in paragraphs 85 and 86. You may summarize for the record what your response is.
My response is that I did not get involved in this because Julius at that point was a junior official. I have no knowledge of this, and therefore I cannot make further comments because it was done at the departmental level, at the level of Julius being a director in the department and being a level like a lower level that reports to the accounting office. So the redeployment and the withdrawal and so forth, I was not part of the process.
I appreciate you're not part of the process, but you were aware of the process as it unfolded. Is that not so?
I was not aware.
I need us to pull up Mapiea's file again, Mapiea and extras. You can close the current one, Miza, and put it away.
Yes, I have it.
I'll just give the commissioners a moment to locate the file. And I would like to refer you specifically starting at page 177 of that file, JM29.
177.
At JM29, this is a letter headed Upliftment of Suspension. It is signed at the bottom by Linda Kasheka as HOD Human Resources. Oh, sorry, you haven't located it yet.
Yes, I have.
You have. It is dated the 24th of May. It's called Upliftment of Suspension and signed at the bottom by Linda Kasheka, HOD Human Resources.
Correct.
Basically, the content of this letter is to advise Mr. Mkwanazi, as it's directed to him, the employee, that his suspension has been uplifted. Now, I see below Ms. Kasheka's signature, it suggests that this document was CC'd to you, so it was copied to you. You received it.
Yes, it was copied to my office, yes. Correct.
You draw a distinction between you and your office. Would you like to
I
elaborate on
don't.
that?
It was CC to me. I agree.
Okay.
Correct.
If you then go over leaf at page 178, and that is annexure JM 3030. This is a letter from Ms. Linda Kasheka once again. It is dated the 15th of June 2023. And it reads, I'll quickly read through it. Mr. Mkwanazi's suspension was uplifted on the 24th of May 2023. The upliftment of his suspension did not have any condition attached to it. It has come to my attention that Mr. Mkwanazi has been moved to a different position as director by law enforcement position, which is not what was approved. Do you see where I've just read?
Yes, ma'am.
Once again, you are copied in this document, in this.
Correct.
I want us to go back to this conversation we had earlier about the powers of the chief of police. You recall when we were considering the terms of section 64 capital C,
Yes,
it
yes.
said that the chief of police has got the power to transfer, appoint, and move members of police.
Correct.
As a city manager, is what Mr. Sheka reflects here correct in the context of section 64C?
Here, Mrs. Gasheka, she's actually advising, she is not instructing the chief of police in terms of the labor relations.
Why do you
It's
say
an
she's
advice.
advising?
If she was instructing, because it was emails between, back and forth between the two HODs. If she was instructive in nature, I was going to actually intervene. But now it was between the two of them, and subsequent to the emails between the two of them, the chief himself uplifted the suspension and redeployed Mkwanazi to how he was advised by the HOD, by HOD Gasheka.
But why do you call it advice?
Pardon?
Why do you call the content of this document an
The
advice?
last, can I read the last paragraph? She says, I would like to advise
Yes.
that you should avoid processes that may lead to unnecessary disputes for the city.
Indeed. But she's not advising on the redeployment. She's advising against unnecessary disputes.
Yes, ma'am.
So the section we are reading does not relate to challenging the redeployment by Chief Mapieye. The section that deals with the redeployment is in the first paragraph. And she concludes that statement by saying, by challenging that he has been moved to a different position as director by law enforcement position, which is not what was approved. Approved by who? Considering that this is communication to the chief of police.
I explained earlier on that the chief of police has powers in terms of the SAPS Act. Also, he's governed by the Systems Act, Section 56, in conjunction with the systems of delegation. So, Ms. Gasheka, I'm sure she will talk more about it because an HR matter is a labor relation matter. She will talk more about it. I'm sure she based, I assume that she based her decision on the systems of delegation.
And that was your understanding on receipt of this letter as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in this instance, whose approval was necessary to obtain by Chief Mapieye before he effected that transfer?
Approval. Remember the approval, the transfers and recruitment processes, these are HR matters. He was supposed to have a discussion with Linda Gasheka, but here I can see they have their own interaction and communication. And the approval of actually transferring Julius or removing from this position to the other, he was supposed to do it because he's the head of department.
Yes.
And Julius reports to him.
So what approval did you understand that Ms. Gasheka specifically indicated needed to be sought? From who? From you as the city manager? Or from her as the head of department? I'm trying to get your understanding on seeing this.
Linda Gasheka will answer for herself.
I'm trying to get your understanding. That's why I'm not. That's
My
why I'm not
understanding-
asking you why she said. I say, what did you understand?
My understanding is that the letter is like advising. That is my understanding then, that she was advising the chief of police. If the chief of police was sort of uncomfortable with this advice of uplifting the suspension, he was supposed to actually escalate the matter. That he is forced by Linda or another HOD, because they're at the same level, that he was instructed to uplift the suspension.
Hence my question to you. They're on the same level. You are the city manager.
Yes.
Mr. Sheka says it can't happen without approval. Whose approval was she referencing? Is it your approval because both of them report to you?
It's obvious.
Okay. If it is that obvious, what approval was this that you had to be sought from you? And where does your power to approve that derive from?
Remember, I referred you to the systems, to two pieces of legislation that the chief had those powers. So Ms. Gasheka, in her response, that's why I said, I assume she used the systems of delegations and she ignored the subset in terms of the powers of the chief of police.
Oh, so do you conclude that she was correct?
I'm saying she was not correct to say approval by who?
Yes.
Remember, I referred and I said I assumed that she relied on the systems of delegations and ignored the subset
Okay.
in terms of the powers that are assigned or delegated to, or assigned to the chief of police, not even delegated, assigned.
Yes, that's a correct term. I agree with you. Commissioner? Oh,
No, if you're continuing on the theme, carry on.
I'm moving to the next document.
Oh, no, please let me ask. Ms. Mashazi, Dr. Mashazi, sorry, in that annexed bundle of MAPA is still, and it's about this discussion about the authority of Mr. Sheka. If you go to page 177, it is an upliftment of suspension and it's addressed to Mr. Mkwanazi, Brigadier Mkwanazi, it's Kasheka, and you are copied as you have agreed that it's not your office, it is you copied. Now, that last paragraph there, it's not advice, it's telling Brigadier, this comes from the head of HR, to whom Brigadier Mkwanazi doesn't report, as you have told us. He reports to Chief Mapia, who has the power to discipline, which you have conceded. But in that last paragraph, Mr. Sheka tells Mr. Brigadier Mkwanazi that his suspension is uplifted and he must come back to work. From your evidence, it seems Mr. Sheka did not have the authority to uplift the suspension of Brigadier Mkwanazi, and that authority lies with Chief Mapia. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know why she would have copied you? You don't get involved, you've told us, with disciplining of junior employees. And here you are. There's quite a number of correspondence where you're not copied, but when we now look at this suspension issue, you are copied. And you see that at page 177, at 178, you are copied again. This is the document you've just been discussing now with Ms. Sillo. And then again at page 179, it's Chief Mapia writing to Ms. Kasheka, and he copies you. Why would they have copied you about a junior employee that you have absolutely no interest or authority to discipline?
I wouldn't understand, and I can't answer that, ma'am. Why would they copy me? Because Mkwanazi is way far too low for me to be copied in terms of departmental processes. Page 177, the letter that is signed by Kasheka.
Yes.
I was not copied.
You are copied. If you look at the bottom,
The top one, the 24th May.
Yes. If you look right at the bottom, I thought you agreed with Ms. Sillo. Just below Ms. Kasheka's email,
I see.
signature. Beg your pardon.
And the next one, 178, I was copied, but I'm saying that they should explain the reasons why they copied me on junior official matters.
And you didn't ask, why are they copying you?
I deal with so many things, ma'am. And
Yes.
so many correspondence are coming into my office. So my email is like, and I get, in fact, I get queries from the public, number one. I get queries from this 26 department. Some of the CC documents they get lost in the process because I deal with many issues.
Maybe let me put to you why it is of interest, why they have copied you, why that question is of interest and would require an answer. It's because the evidence that we have had, or the testimony that we have had so far, is that you had a hand in the decision not to discipline Brigadier Mkwanazi eventually, which we have seen part of on the interview where you say you made a decision not to discipline him. There is also testimony that you were involved in the discussion or in the decision ultimately of Mr. Sheka to uplift his suspension and have him return to work. That's why the interest in my questions, at least, that you are copied on an HR matter that involves a junior employee. And there are these allegations that we've had that you had a direct involvement in how the disciplinary process against him eventually was aborted and scuppered.
I want to state categorically that I did not participate in the suspension, nor the upliftment of the suspension. I deny all the facts that they indicated, that I participated, I called them, I did everything. I deny those facts.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. I want to refer you then to the next document in the same file, and that's
Nothing. Sure, I would do honestly.